Good morning, Rabotai. As well, good Chodesh, Rabotai. We're in the month of Adar, a month of Simcha. Mishenichnas Adar Marbim Simcha. We should be zocheh to experience Simcha in each and every aspect and facet of our lives, Be'ezat Hashem. Breakfast and the class today is dedicated by Yitzi Rosenbaum in honor of his wife Chana, who constantly listens and lives Rabbi Farhi's wonderful shiurim and life lessons, and for the speedy recovery for the Rabbanit. He is a Chassid from Lakewood who loves listening to a Sephardic rabbi. How great is the Torah? What a beautiful dedication. Shtabach Shemo, very special. I want to tell you also, Yitzi, all the best wives are called Chana. Okay, let's go. Dedicated for the complete refuah shlema of Miriam Batzara. May her surgery go smoothly today, be successful with good outcomes. May Hashem continue to protect the lover and bring her back to full health. As well, dedicated anonymously for Berachan Hatzlacha for Michael David ben Miriam, Michael David ben Miriam, and his whole family. Also sponsored by Emmanuel Zara, dedicated in honor of Shai Mahani for his kindness and incredible contributions to the Keilah. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless him and his family. Loving memory and Nishmatem Margalit Batzara and Julia Batzara, Alehem HaShalom. Sponsored by Abi Ashkenazi. Also dedicated for speedy complete refuah shlema, David ben Chana, David Zaytuni, sponsored by his son Remy Zaytuni. Please make berachot for his refuah. Also, for the refuah shlema of Eli Ibra, Eliyahu ben Yvette, by his wife, Sili, the in Shana Rishonah still, I think. Hashem should bless you. Arichut Yamim V'Shanim, Elliot. Also, for speedy recovery for Rabbi Eli Abadi, Eliyahu, Shimon ben Mazal, Fortuna, and for Menachem ben Sarah. Menachem ben Chana or Menachem ben Sarah? I think it's, well, someone will check it, Rabbi Haber. Also dedicated in loving memory of Joseph's father, Elliot Safra, Nishmat Eliyahu ben Jamil of Yaakov, sponsored by Michelle and Joseph Safra, and loving memory of Nishmat Lily Safra, Leah Batchana, philanthropy has reached so many throughout the entire world. David E. Esh, in honor of you and your capacity, substantial capacity, good today and every day. And in the speedy and complete refuah shlema for Rabbanit Chana, Farhi, Chana Batzema Fega, Bezrat Hashem, we should be zochet to have refuah shlema bekarov mamash. We still need your prayers and your mitzvot each and every day. We have some important meetings with the doctors today, not today, over the next couple days. Bezrat Hashem, we hope to hear good news. Mishenichnas Adar, Marbim B'Simcha. Okay, my friends, we started the Parashah of Teruma by presenting the idea that there's an opportunity that a person has in this world to create a space for God. The way we describe this in the Mefarshim was something that's called Dira B'Tachtonim. To be able to create for HaKadosh Baruch Hu a dwelling place in this world. To open up a space for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to manifest in this world. Now that's a very difficult idea, because if you think about it, although HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world and all that's in it, although Maleh Meloch Ol Haaretz Kivodo, but the world with all of its challenges and its physicality is not a place for the ruchaniyut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So how do those two things come together? The Gemara says that the Beit HaMikdash was a place where the heavens and the earth connected, where the earth, so to speak, were kissing the heavens. Why? Because we took a physical earth using physical things, stones, gold, silver, all the wonderful things that make up the clothing of the Kohanim, and by elevating those physical things, by giving those physical things spiritual purposes, we made those physical things become spiritual. So we were able to create a gradient, a ladder between this earth and the earth above. Now the Mefarshim explain that each element of the Beit HaMikdash and the Mishkan were designed to be able to teach us how to create that Dira B'Tachtonim. And the concept of the Kelim of the Beit HaMikdash, you should know, there's an organization in Israel that what do? They build all the Kelim of the Beit HaMikdash. Right now, you go to Israel, Jerusalem, you'll see it. Okay? A lot of people don't like that. The idea that they're building the Kelim before the Beit HaMikdash is already ready to be built. Their idea is the time Mashiach will come, Mashiach will already, he wants to build a Beit HaMikdash, where's the Kelim going to be? So how are we going to build the Kelim? We have to build them then. Better they should be built from now. You know, the problem is, there's so many machlokot in the vessels of the Beit HaMikdash You built it according to the Rambam and not according to the Ravad. You built it according to this one and not according to that one. Who decided how it's going to be in the Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi? For something like that, you really need to wait. Ad shiavo Eliyahu, like we say, Teku, Tishbi Yashev, Kushiot, Ubeayot. So the one that's going to answer those questions is going to be Eliyahu Hanavi. But my friends, while they're busy building the Aron out of gold in the institute, for the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, my friends, every one of us doesn't have to wait, doesn't have to spend money, doesn't have to decide according to which of the Rishonim we're going to build an Aron. We're going to build an Aron according to all the Shitot. What that means is that each opinion in each vessel is designed to be able to communicate a lesson to every one of us. Now I want to try and communicate this idea in some of the ideas of the building of the Mishkan, and hopefully it will be something that will be beneficial as we explained according to the Nefesh HaChaim, V'chen ta'asu l'dorot. You have to do it, you have to build it in your own home every single generation, every single year. And if you built it last year, you got to build it again this year. So let's talk about one pasuk. The pasuk says, V'asita b'adei aseh shitim. You will build the poles for the Aron out of cedar wood. V'tzipita otam zahav. And you'll cover them with gold. V'heveta tabadim b'tabaot. And you'll bring those poles into the rings on the Aron, al tzalot Aron, laset et Aron bahem. To carry the Aron with those poles. Now my friends, you think about this from a perspective of an engineer. You think to yourself, you want to carry the Aron, you want to move the Aron from place to place. It makes sense that the poles are wood covered by gold. Why? Because if you want it to be portable, how heavy is this Aron already going to be? So therefore, maybe the reason why they made the poles out of wood, covered them with gold, is in order to make it lighter. I want to disabuse you of that notion. The Aron was so heavy that no 4 people would have been able to carry it. The weight of the Aron, I remember once we went to a calculation using the gold of the kaporet, the gold of the kiruvim, the gold that was on the walls from the outside and from the inside. Never mind the poles, that Aron is not moving anywhere. It weighed tons upon tons. I remember Rabbi Galinsky made a cheshbon of how many tons it was. It would be the equivalent of 4 people trying to lift a truck. It's not happening. So the wood in the poles could not have been designed to be able to make the Aron lighter. If anyway, it was a miracle that they were able to lift it at all. In fact, as the rabbis teach us, the Aron was noseh et nosaav. It carried those who carried it. So the function of making it lighter is ridiculous. Number 1, because it's already so heavy. Number 2, because it's lifting the people that are carrying it. So it doesn't matter how heavy it is. My friends, it must be that there's a deeper understanding in this concept of the poles being badei aseh shitim, covered in gold. And we find that idea as well, not just in the poles themselves, but also in the walls of the Aron itself. The Aron was built with wood on the inside, and then an inner layer of gold, a box within a box within a box. What's the purpose of that, my friends? What's the idea? So I want to share an observation, an idea that I had that really kind of struck me at the time. One of the beautiful things about gold is how rare it is. Like as an example, imagine for 1 minute that aluminum was the same price as gold. Is aluminum the same price as gold? No. Why not? Someone want to just turn off the toaster or maybe make it slower? It's making noises. Yeah? Why not? How come aluminum is not more expensive than gold? Sorry? Why does it have no value? Why? What makes it precious or not precious? Supply and demand. Aluminum pans are very shiny. right? So why is silver, which is shiny and silver colored, more expensive than aluminum, which is shiny and silver colored? Scarcity. Simple. There's more silver in the world than there is gold. Gold is more expensive. If you think it's the color of gold, it's a mistake. Why? Platinum is exactly the same color as silver, shiny metal, and yet it's even more expensive than gold. So literally the fact that there's not so much of it around makes it more valuable. Now, to me, I must share, that is an arbitrary value. Again, let me share that concept one more time. That means the value of the precious metals that are used in the Beit HaMikdash is a little bit strange because they're not valuable in and of themselves. They're valuable because of how little there are in the world. But that doesn't mean that that thing is more valuable. If we had to choose in this world whether we wanted gold or wood, what would we choose? Wood. Why? The functions of wood are far more beneficial than the functions of gold. Not only in terms of building, not only in terms of fuel, right? In terms of being able to shape, etc., etc. It's oceans away. But not only that, the other element is that gold is dead. However valuable it is, it's dead. My friends, this concept is something that is incredibly important. I want to share an idea that really, it struck me. There was a man whose name was Rabbi Hayya. Rabbi Hayya was one of the greatest of his generation. Anyway, he was a poor fellow, and at the time he realized that there were people that did not know Torah in his neighborhood. So what did he do? The Gemara tells us. He went and he made traps, and he caught deer, and he skinned the deer, and he wrote the Bereshit on the skin of the deer. And so this is you can imagine how long this process is. He has trees, he makes flax, from the flax he makes nets, from the nets he catches deer, from the deer he skins them and makes the Sefer Torah, eventually he has Bereshit, and he has another one, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Devarim. 5 kids, he teaches each one of them one of those Sefarim. And then he tells the kids to teach one another. Could you imagine the extent of this process? There's many questions you have to ask on this Gemara. The first question is, what is Rabbi Hayya, one of the greatest Amoraim, why is he teaching first grade Bereshit to a kid? Get some guy to teach it. Is this clear? What is he doing? Question number 2. Why is Rabbi Hayya going through this process? Go to the store, go on Instacart, and buy parchment. How many steps does he cut out? If he doesn't, plant the flax, get the flax, spin it into a string, make nets, wait for the deer to be caught, etc., 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 etc. What is he doing? Rabbi Hayya, my friends, was not teaching 5 kids Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Devarim. Rabbi Hayya was teaching his entire generation. He was teaching all future generations that the process of Torah, of mitzvot, it needs to be something that can be replicated. If you can't replicate the Torah that you have, it doesn't matter how valuable, how beautiful, how holy it is, it dies with you. We have Tanaim, we have a Tana, very famous Tana, who decides that he's closer to the Torah, he's nafshi chashka b'Torah, he decides he can't get married. And he doesn't get married. And to this day, people travel to his kever because he gave a haftacha that all those that need to find the shidduch should come, and if they make the arduous trek down to Amuka, to the bottom of this valley, it's very difficult to get there, then he'll intercede on their behalf in Shamayim. Was it the right thing or not the right thing not to get married? Well, look at everybody else. When Moshe Rabbeinu separates from his wife, what do Aharon and Miriam say? We're also Nevi'im. We also understand the risks. We also understand the distraction of marriage. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu built the world this way. There's a mitzvah for a person not to be alone. He's supposed to be with his wife. He's supposed to have more children. Lo letou bera'ah, right? Kim l'shevet yitzara. This is how God made it. Now, Aaron and Miriam were right, except for the fact that they did not understand that Moshe was built in a different way to every other human that would ever live on this planet. But for everybody else, now let me ask you, I'm a Talmid Chacham, imagine. Let's just imagine. I'm sitting there and learning. I'm 20 years old in the Yeshivat Mir. I'm studying day and night. Don't you think it's a crazy thing for me to find a wife and a children? This one's going to bother me. I have to take this one to school. I have to deal with this one's report card. I should just sit and learn Torah my whole life. My friends, then it dies with you. The message of the Aron, which held the Sefarim, held the Luchot, whether the Shivrei Luchot, whether the whole Luchot, it's the highest heights of Kiddusha. It's a place where only the Kohen Gadol could come in once a year, holiest person, holiest day, to bring the holiest Korban, and that's where the Aron HaKodesh is. And it's pure gold. My friends, but what sits on top of the Aron is the Kiruvim. And our rabbis tell us that the face of the Kiruvim was the face of children. Because although the gold is so important, if it's not replicatable, if you can't pass it to the children, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters for you. It matters for that moment. But ultimately, there's only two certain things in this world: death, taxes, and no parking in the city. Right? But there's very few things that we know that there's a time. And when that time is done, you'll go to Shamayim. You'll get your reward. Hazak u'baruch. But what will be left here? What will carry on after you've played your part? So the Torah commanded us that what holds the luchot? What holds the luchot is not something which is incredibly valuable and incredibly rare. The highest forms of Torah learning, the Sitrei Torah, Shas, Poskim, Hazak u'baruch. If you can't figure out how to hand it down to the children, if it's not something that can grow another one, the nature of trees is such that as it grows, it doesn't only grow higher and higher and higher. What else does it do? It carries on. It perpetuates. Once that's the case, my friends, we understand that at the same time that a person is thinking about doing more and more and more, they need to think also about how they're schlepping their kids with them. I want to share what this looks like in a practical term. I have a lot of people who, they have parents that do great things for the community. The father might be a rabbi, the father might be a Rosh Yeshiva, the father might be an Askan. He might be someone who collects money for tzedakah. He might be someone that people turn to for all the important things of the world. But my friends, you could do all those things for the Keilah in two different ways. One way is when the father does it alone. And one way is when in every single one of those meetings the father sits in on, he has his kids sit in the meeting. To me, it's so painful to see a father who makes sure that his kid or his kids sit in on every meeting in the business, because they have to learn the business. How else are they going to learn the business? So the kid comes to every meeting at work, but never once attended a meeting for tzedakah, never once attended a meeting. You built the mikveh, you built the school, you're building the shul, you're the rabbi, you're the rebbetzin, you're the Rosh Yeshiva. Where are your kids? And I'm not even talking about trying to shove your kids into your seat, making sure that your kid takes over the shul, the yeshiva. I'm not even talking about the position. I'm talking about the education. You want to do great things? Great. Don't leave your kids behind so that you can go do great things. That's an aron that is solid gold. And it looks even more beautiful. And it seems even more valuable. And on the short-term version, you accomplish more if you don't bring your kids along to work with you. But in the long term, you are what they call in the business world a diminishing asset. ועשית בדי עצי שיטים וציפית אותם זהב. I thought to myself, the word tzipita means to cover. But the word tzipita also shares its root with the concept of litzpot, to see something. To see in a distance, mitzpeh etan, to recognize something that's far off. To hope for something that's in the future, right? Tzofeh umabit ad sof kol adorot. When you're looking into the future, you cover with gold. You don't make it out of gold. You make sure that there's something that can be planted. My friends, this is not only true about children. As the Gemara tells us, Kol ha-melamed ben havero Torah ma'aleh alav hakatuv ki'ilu yelado. You teach your friend's son Torah, the Torah considers it as if it's your son. You might have a kid who's not interested at all. You spent your whole life building something for the community, building many things for the community, building things for your family, building things for your area, the Jewish people. What happens if your kid's not interested? Get another kid. I don't mean have another kid. Have that conversation with your wife. I'm saying get another kid. Mentor someone. Find someone in the community that has a heart, that understands, that recognizes. Sometimes you have a person who does so much in the kehillah. They take care of every problem. They do everything. Amazing. But what they don't realize is that with one hand, they're giving the community an unbelievable gift. And with the other hand, they're exacting a terrible price from the community. If an older rabbi has no time, patience, or space for younger rabbis, what will happen when he moves on? No one will have been prepared. No one will have had any experience. If the people who are established take care of all the problems of the community, and the young people build nothing, then you know what happens when those people move on to the better world, to Olam Haba? Those young people have zero experience and zero exposure. So while you gave the community a gift by taking everything and doing everything, you also took a terrible price, because the time will come where that vacuum, after the person goes away, is irreplaceable. And you find it sometimes, and in some communities, that their rabbi was so big that there's no tachlif for that rabbi. And now what? The Torah tells us, Ela shoftim bayamim haem, en lecha ela shofet asher biyamecha. You only have the rabbi of your time. You only have this guy. He's no Joe Beta. Okay, wish we had Joe Beta plugging away, building. But we don't. So what do we do now? You only have the shofet in your day. But you have to make sure, as a shofet, that you're elevating the shofet asher biyamim of the next generation during your lifetime. Which is why God, at the end of the Torah, makes sure that Moshe places his hands on Yehoshua before he goes. Where Yehoshua is receiving prophecy before Moshe goes. Where he's listening in to every tzivui that Moshe hears before he goes. My friends, what an important lesson. You could do far more if you don't bring anyone along with, and you have to explain it, you have to bring them, you have to teach them. You could do far more, but you could do far more today. Look a little bit into the future. What's going to happen later? Is this replicatable? Rabbi Chia understood. He taught every future generation that it's true. I could be giving the shir in the highest yeshiva, in the most advanced talmidim. Everyone will be coming to me, and I don't need to sit here with kids. I definitely don't need to weave nets and catch deer. He was explaining, you think it's a waste of time to teach a kid? Let me show you how much time I'm going to waste on teaching a kid. Even if it means I need to plant the plant and weave the flax and make it into a net and catch the deer and skin the deer and write the Bereshit and teach it to the kid. If I can't do that, then there's no future for Am Yisrael. The Aron is built. from solid gold with a heart of an asset that is replaceable, that it is sustainable forever and ever. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.